I am Coach Mo, and this is the Evening Social Podcast. I'm here with my guy, Pretty Lou, what they call him, actor, playwright, Louis J. Morrow. And we're streaming live on our Jenna Club TV on YouTube channel. Please be sure to subscribe. Tonight's live stream is brought to you by New Wall Street. It's an investment education community. Tonight's episode is brought to you in part by Wilson's Pizza and Grill, 1801 Quindaro Boulevard. Let's talk a little bit about our guest tonight. I got to say this on live stream because I wanted to come out because I'm super proud of my guy here. Some of the plays that he has written have been finalists in the MOJOAA Festival, the Detroit Newsworks Festival, the Association of Theater and Higher Education New Play Development Series, and most recently, a winner of Wichita Community Theater Reader Series. His plays have been produced nationally from North Carolina, Michigan, Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, California, and Florida. And I've heard some productions in England and Poland now.
They're brewing. That's a connect there. That's a connection from a director who I work closely with, Dr. Nicole Hodges personally. She's a professor at KU, but she's got some connects and she's planting some seeds. So
good. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, man. This is I got to coin a phrase that my guy came up with, but we gonna make it famous. All right. This platform is not only to platform career exploration for our youth, but it's to give oxygen to people like yourself. Just so we can honor the things that you accomplished, what you're doing, and just tell you, man, hats off. We see what you're doing. And we don't want to wait till too late to be able to say this. We want to be able to do it now.
Right.
And oxygen, man, that's life. So we want to give life back to people so they understand people are seeing you, people appreciate it, they know what you're doing. Good work. Patting you on your back. Keep going.
Appreciate it.
Keep repping the town.
Yeah. I received that. Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Good. I got to say this too. Google Arts and Culture named you one of the artists to watch in KC. So, man, I'm happy to have you here. We go way back. So this is a personal episode with me.
Yeah.
I really was excited to be able to get you here. Let's talk a little bit about, we just were talking about high school and our roots with Sumner Academy. So we just talked a little bit about that. But let's talk about college. So you're leaving, you're in senior year at Sumner Academy. Yeah. What's your mind frame about schools that you're choosing or going to school? Talk to us about that.
Man, so I want to be careful on how I say this. I don't have regrets or nothing like that. I just wish, and it's something I preach to my daughter who's 12 all the time, like start thinking now, because I wasn't thinking. I knew I was going to go to college, but I didn't know I waited so long to where I was running track. That was a sport that I had the best chance of getting some scholarships at. And I literally picked my school based on the school that seemed like they was gonna set the most up for me, as far as they linked me up with a counselor who picked my courses. They linked me up with, finances and everything like that. So I ended up going to Ottawa University in Ottawa, Kansas, to run track, small school, about 500 kids when I went there. But to your question, I wasn't thinking, man. I literally was not thinking. Sumner is a heavy load, and so, senior year was a grind. I had a lot of IB courses that I was trying to, get done. And man, Sumner can be a load, and so I was just, I'm running track. I'm focused on that. My senior year, I'm trying to win a state championship. I got second, but that's where my focus was, and I was not thinking about September, which is crazy because it's January, February, March, April of my senior year, and I'm not thinking about September as far as school. Just in my mind, I'm going to be at school somewhere. So that's where my mind was. At Sumner, they kind of condition you. You need to go to college. You need to go to college, which is great. That was dope. And we had a lot of counselors who would help. I just was somewhat burnt out, man, to tell the truth. And so I ended up going. I took the easiest path in, which might have been good as far as them being willing to help, but Ottawa did everything. All I had to do was fill out the application. Other than that, they was hooking me up with classes, and I mean, not easy classes, but they picked my schedule. They was able to kind of say, well, you know, you don't know what you want to do. Why don't you just start, you know, a general degree program and things like that. So that's why I ended up going.
Okay. So now you're at Ottawa.
I'm
This
at
your
Ottawa.
freshman year. You're at Ottawa. Let's talk about, you know, once you get there, your own campus, school starts. Now what?
Man, ain't no sisters up there, man. No sisters. That was disappointing. That was a culture shock, man. Again, I'm from Wyandotte, you know, so I love the sisters. I didn't do nothing, man. I didn't go out. I didn't do anything. I stayed in my room. I injured my knee. My freshman year in college, I injured my knee, and I tore my ACL and MCL running, doing some road work. They had us running on a gravel road, slipped on some rocks. Man, I gained a bunch of weight, and man, I just did not do anything. I didn't go on no dates. I didn't go to no parties. I didn't do anything. I just enjoyed that dining card. I ate a lot, watched TV. I did have good grades. I had like a 3.9, you know, my whole freshman year. But it was a culture shock, man. It was a really, 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 really small town. There was nobody up there that I knew. Although, you know, I call myself, you know, I'm an extroverted introvert, which means if I'm around people, I'm comfortable, but I'm not gonna be the guy that walks in and hey, and start speaking and making, you know, I've got the same friends that I've had since I was, you know, 11, the same 3 guys that I say, these are my brothers, you know, and I've, you know, gained some good friends since then, but for the most part, those are my dudes, you know, they weren't there. So I was just not doing nothing, man, a bunch of nothing. But I did get good grades though. I did get good grades, so that was it, man. That's what my college experience was like while I was at Ottawa.
Okay. So after your freshman year,
Pretty much the same sophomore year. I ended up, a friend of mine, one of my brothers, I would say, Craig Donnell, whose sweatshirt I'm rocking, he's got his own brand, Intentional Living.
Show that
yeah.
off.
So
That's Junior Deuce, man. Come
Junior
on,
Deuce, yeah.
Be intentional living.
Yeah, Intentional Living in his brand. He's got a bunch of dope sweatshirts and stuff like that, so always go and support him. We linked up over the summer after he went somewhere else. He went to Independence in Kansas to play ball. I'm running track.
Shout out to the Pirates. You know, that's where I was at. That's where I went.
That's how he got linked up. And so he was just saying, man, you know, throughout our sophomore year in college, I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to be here and doing this. And he was discontent. And so we came up with this plan that, man, let's move. Let's go somewhere. And so we just started looking up different colleges. Me, I wanted to go to HBCU. I wanted to be around some sisters, man. Straight up. Simple as that. Like, that was my motivation. I needed to be back around some sisters. And so I said, let's go, you know. And so we're looking up all these different HBCUs and seeing the photos. And I'm like, I can get with this. Well, his sister went to Prairie View, down in Prairie View, Texas. She said, well, man, come down here. You know some people down here. He had a cousin down there. We had a few people that went to Sumner down there. So sophomore year, we started the application process. We went down there, found a place to stay. We stayed off campus, enrolled in Prairie View. Right after my sophomore year, we made that moved down to Texas, man. First time I was away from home. First time I lived out of Kansas City. We didn't even really visit out of Kansas City. I didn't travel too much out of Kansas City. Went down to the Prairie View, which was right outside of Houston. So Houston was the main city that I was in and spending time in, but stayed down there for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I got to bring this up, man.
Right.
I got to bring this up. So I want to know about this band that you was in Texas.
You the only one.
No. So I'm asking you about this, you know, for a couple reasons. But what I'm asking you about is because I remember when, you know, I'm here, man. Y'all, Craig, y'all in the band. Y'all got a band down there, you know.
I try to slip that past you.
And I know you try to slip it past me.
Oh, man.
But this is another reason why I'm bringing it up. I keep it real. Another reason I'm bringing it up because this was one of the first times that I remember you talking about you writing.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason why I'm bringing it up. Because like you said, I knew you wrote. I mean, not to the extent that you was writing, because we talk and you would say writing, but I did not know that you were writing to the extent that you were writing, like how much that was your passion.
Yeah.
But when I heard you talk about this, and I'm writing, you know, and you was talking about spoken word, and you know, I'm like, man, Lou really like writing. You know, that's my first time really realizing yo, okay, he really, really likes writing.
Right.
You know, so that's why I'm bringing this up. I know, you know, some other things, but I'm bringing it up because this is like, I think, now, could be wrong, but this is like what I think when a lot of us really realize, like, yo, Lewis really into writing. This really what he likes to do, and he's pretty good at it, you know?
Me and June, we got Craig, we got together, we just, man, Craig's always been into music and stuff like that, and I've always been into music as far as listening to music. I have an eclectic taste for music and everything, but I never saw myself pursuing music. But with him, it was like, well, man, I'm writing, you know what I mean? Craig knew I got into it because he found some notebooks of all these different songs and little raps that I would write, things I was thinking, stupid things, silly things, or whatever. And we was like, man, you know, we entered a talent show. Randomly, we entered a talent show. Walking around Juneteenth. Funny story, we're walking around Juneteenth. We just knew her as Janelle at the time, but it's Janelle Monáe hands us this flyer and was like, you know, we're hosting this talent show at KCKCC. So it's like, man, so we go and audition. Our little number was weak. They probably let us in just because they needed people, to tell the truth. But we performed. You know, it went all right, but I think we just like performing, man. And for me, it was that rush that I hadn't had since school sports. That you know, you downstairs in the locker room and you can hear that we got a packed house in the gym and the band is playing and you bust out the doors and doing your layup drills, like that adrenaline. I hadn't had that until I ended up performing on stage. And so we, you know, did our little number. We was like, man, let's do this. So yeah, man, we pushed music hard. A lot of people don't know this, man. I've never let anybody close to me now listen to this album. We had 1,000 of them that we were selling and everything like that. A lot of people don't know, even though our music was bad, I'm not bragging, but they did fly us out to New York to meet with Def Jam and Bad Boy. So we did meet with him. Def Jam dude, this cat named Lenny Santiago, was like, y'all are cool, but I don't know if y'all are for us. The dude from Bad Boy straight up said, he said, if I let Diddy hear this, he smacked me, man. This is garbage. He told us straight. He said it's garbage. And we went back home to Texas, and man, I was just like, dog, this is after grinding in music for years and doing talent shows and all this. I ended up was like, man, it's time for me to go back to Kansas City. But it's to hinge onto a point that you were saying, it's crazy, man. You know, and I'm a believer. It's crazy how God works, because I truly believe, even looking back on it, man, that if I wouldn't have done that, then it would have been from the time that I was 19 till 28 or 29 that I went without any type of creative juices flowing. Like when I went to Ottawa, I wasn't writing. I wasn't doing anything. It was just, I was stifled. I couldn't concentrate on that type of thing. I didn't like where I was at. So it was a placeholder, man, for me. I really believe that. So I don't regret anything, but it was a placeholder. It kept me writing. It kept me having creative ambitions and everything like that. And so when I got into doing what I'm doing now, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't like I was, you know, unpacking something from when I was 11 or 12. It was something I had to knock a little rust off, but not a lot. And so it was a placeholder, man, and it kind of, I already had this understanding of myself that I like to perform, that it gave me this, you know, this hype, this adrenaline rush that I hadn't had since sports, you know, and I just love to write. And so, yeah, man, it was called The Choir. The Choir.
I was going to see if you was going to get
I got it tatted on my back, and I'm never getting rid of it, baby. People ask me to this day, they say, who is The Choir? I said, oh, the greatest group ever. They say, oh, man, you're a real fan, aren't you? Where can we find them? I said, you can't. You can't find them, dog. If you just know them if you know them.
You just know them if you know them?
Yeah.
Man, so the only thing that I'm highly disappointed in about this whole situation is that out of all these 1,000 albums, I didn't get one.
You know, it was a man.
I never got one.
We didn't come to KC and get one?
No. Well, you know June gave me no CD,
I just
man.
told you, I'm ashamed, Coach. Last thing I need is you up here being optimistic. No, Lou, it ain't that bad. And for everybody watching, go get, no. Please forget about this ever happened, man.
Okay, all right, we're gonna let that go, man. I appreciate you talking about it, but I did want to talk about, you know, the passion of writing and the ability to do that, and that you had got back into something you love after you got out of a situation. I think one of the things that this platform is to do is to allow our youth also to see that there are obstacles and things that happen, and people have to go through that. So you were in a situation that you really didn't like. But you stuck it out. See, that's the other part of why I always say, man, one thing I respect about you is that you make some of them hard decisions, but you will work.
Yeah.
And you'll go through it. You may not like it, may not be the way you saw it. You know, you may not be the best person there, but you're gonna continue to work, and it doesn't stop you from who you become or your confidence in yourself or what you do. And I like that. So you were in a bad situation at Ottoman. Yeah. You stuck it out, still had good grades. Yeah. You knew you didn't want it. You just didn't quit and just leave. You made a plan. Yeah. You made a plan to do something else so you could still stay on that path. Yeah. I love it. That's good. So that's part of why I'm asking about that, because I know that part and I wanted that to come out. Yeah. Plus, I wanted to just talk about that group too. I'm still a little. I'm like, man, they didn't give me no CD. Both of these my dogs. But I ain't get to hear no song. No, nothing, you know what I mean? I ain't get a picture, invite to the talent show in case I ain't get none of that.
Man, you didn't miss nothing. I promise you that.
Okay, all right. Well, let's flip a little bit and let's get into something a little more interesting for me. Okay. All right, I got to make sure that everyone understands that we are here in the lovely Kinship Cafe, our venue partner, in KCK, 719 North 6th Street. I want everyone to understand that our episode partner is Wilson's Pizza on 1801 North 18th Street. And then cannot forget appreciation for our live stream segment partner, New Wall Street, the education community. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about things we're moving into. And I know there's a lot of different things in there. We talked a little bit before about you going to seeing the play and the juices going. Yeah. But I want to just say that I want to bring out a couple things. And when I say these things, I want you just to kind of give me what comes to mind. Okay. All right. Sweat at the Unicorn.
An addict. That's the first thing. Every time I think of that was my role. Yeah. Every time I think of Sweat, I just think of playing an addict. And again, playing. I don't have any really no experience with any type of drugs for real personally. But that's what I played. There's a picture on my phone with makeup and everything, and I look strung out. And me and my kids, whatever, we laugh about it all the time. But that's that first thought, man.
We need that picture, man. We want to put
I'm going to send it to you, man.
Okay.
I'm going to send it to you.
I want to see that one. Talk about, that this was a Pulitzer winning.
Sweat was a Pulitzer Prize winning play by a sister named Lynn Nottage. She's one of only 2 black playwrights to win multiple Pulitzers, her and August Wilson. And Sweat was a play at the Unicorn Theater in KCMO, basically dealing with it. Man, it intertwined a bunch of different dynamics in the society, but it was this lower class, working class, I should say, blue collar more than lower middle class. It was more about these blue collar folks who lost their jobs in 2008 with the recession and everything like that. And, it was a group of diverse friends who were cool and everything was cool. But as soon as that adversity hit, some of those layers peeled away. So you start talking about, racism and just a bunch of different things. And that's what the play was about. And so it opened up on Broadway. Well, I don't know if it opened on Broadway, but at some point I think, it may not have been on Broadway, but it won some awards, and then Unicorn brought it to KC, and we did it here. Okay.
Man, nice. Let's talk about Gem of the Ocean.
Oh man, Gem of the Ocean was a good one. Gem of the Ocean is one of the plays. So a lot of people don't know August Wilson is probably one of the greatest playwrights, especially greatest American playwrights, but the most prominent black playwright. He's passed now, so rest in peace. But he wrote his magnum opus, if you will, his biggest masterpiece. He wrote 10 plays, which each play takes place in a different decade in the 1900s. And it was just to map out and document and depict the black experience and black life in these different decades throughout the 1900s. And it's crazy. So he's got one for 1906, I believe. That's Gem of the Ocean. Then he's got one in the 20s or the 10s, then the 20s. We just seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom that came out on Netflix. I'm pretty sure, I want to say Ma Rainey's is the 20s because I think Piano Lessons the 30s. But anyway, he's got all these plays throughout. And so he won 2 Pulitzers. He won one for Fences and one for The Piano Lesson. Gem of the Ocean was nominated, but that was his play that took place in 1906. And so it was a period piece. So we had on these old clothes. The set was real beautiful. It was out at Metropolitan Ensemble Theater. And I played a character called Citizen Barlow. But yeah, man, anybody who's interested in theater or I would always say definitely get that August Wilson, that 10-play cycle under your belt. Read it, man. It's a good read, especially for everyone. It's called the American Century Cycle. A lot of times people try to say the Pittsburgh Cycle or the Black Cycle, but it's the American Century Cycle. But yeah, man, it's really, really, really deep, really good, real lyrical. So,
Okay, yeah. I like that. What about 2121?
2121 was at KC Melting Pot Theater, which is my home theater. I'm the director of new play development there. KC Melting Pot Theater, greatest theater in the world. I stand by that. Founded by Mr. Harvey Williams and his wife, Mrs. Linda Williams, who pretty much single-handedly, them along with a lady named Nicole Hodges Pursley, has given me a platform to do what I do in writing and acting. 2121 was written by Mr. Harvey Williams. And it basically was, it focused on this group of adult learners who was trying to get their GEDs and everything like that. And then because of budget cutdowns or cutbacks and whatnot, they faced the dilemma of getting their school shut down. 2121 was actually a real place. It was a trailer where adult learners were able to get their GEDs. They was trying to shut it down. And so this group of adult learners, they kind of took matters into their own hands and did some radical, type things. I don't want to give it away, even though it's, but in case KC Melting Pot brings it back, you should go see it. But yeah, that's what that was about. And I played the head administrator over this GED center. And it was funny. Mr. Williams, he's a incredible artist, actor, writer. But it was funny. It was deep. It was, it had some message to it. So it was a good one.
Okay, I like it. I ain't through. I got a few more.
All right.
Let's talk about The Doves in Darkness.
Oh, yeah. That's a play that I wrote. It got renamed to The One Difference. Man, that was just a play that I challenged myself. I just started writing at that time. That's probably my second or third play. And I just wrote these big monologues. Every time I wrote a line, I was writing too much. And so I'd read this play by this playwright named Ayad Akhtar, and he wrote this play called Disgrace, which was dope. But I just seen how he was writing. His lines just one line at a time, line. It's like, man, how's he writing so fast? Like, how's he, because I felt like you got to make it poetic. It's got to be stanzas. It's got to be all this. So when I wrote that play, it was really just, it was an exercise in efficiency, man. I said, man, I'm not going to, if what the character is saying drops more than 2 lines, I'm going to change it. And I ended up writing it in like 3 or 4 days or whatever. Submitted it to this festival in Detroit, and it was a top 5 out of the country, out of about like 450 selections. So I flew up to Detroit, and they did a reading of it, and man, it went good. It got some good press, got some good publicity or whatnot, but the train kind of stopped with that there because I kind of shifted in my perspective and the things that I wanted to write about and whatnot. So I kind of left that in the background. I still got the script, of course, but I haven't opened that thing up in years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Look What the Fire Did.
Yeah, that was cool. Look What the Fire Did is a play that I wrote. I wrote it. I actually started writing it in 2013, and it started off as a play called Misunderstanding the Candy Game, and the premise of the play, this is when everything's still going on, but this is when the Black Lives Matter movement really started getting steam, and Trayvon Martin had gotten killed, and it was just every day, it just seemed like something new was happening. And so I wrote a play about this college professor who loses one of his kids to police violence, who then takes matters into his own hands. And it started out as this full-length 2-act play. It was cool. But I started reworking it and I cut it all the way down to a 10-minute play and just focused on one scene. And from that, I expanded it to it's about a 55, 60-minute play now that we did at the KC Fringe Festival, which is this huge arts festival. Man, we had a great turnout. We had great feedback. But just recently, I just signed a contract with a theater in Louisville, Kentucky. They want to produce it. So that's actually getting produced for the second time in April. So in a couple months, it's going to be out in Louisville. So I'll drive over and see it or whatnot. And it'll be the first time me seeing it, the full-length version of it, that I wasn't in it. I was in the original one, so I'm not in it. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it was a touchy piece, kind of thought-provoking. But we got some good pub on it.
Okay. Elephant.
That was with Rising Tide Production. By this point, I had kind of gotten a little buzz in the KC area amongst other actors and things like that. So I got approached to, they wanted to commission a piece for me to write for a fundraiser for an organization called Morrow, which focuses on just equality in equity and employment and within the community. And so the guy who wanted me to write this play, a guy named Bob Linebarger and Casey Jane, they asked me, you got any work experience that you could tell us about? And so I wrote this play just on this, it took me about 6 days to write, but I wrote this play about when I was working in corporate America. My boss asked me, no lie, to wear a chicken suit for the CEO. She said, we want to do we're going to have you wear a chicken suit. So we got into it, but she said that's some things that I can't repeat. Yeah. But I ended up writing a play about it. And it was called Elephant because throughout the whole play, we kept talking about these little things that people think is nothing. Like when you're working in corporate America, you'd be surprised what, what someone might say. I walked down the stairs, I'd had a skull cap on because it's winter. Me and two of my friends, they was white guys, they had on skull caps. This big wig comes in, he says, oh, Lewis, you look like you're about to go rob somebody. But why me? I'm in slacks, a tie, everything, and I got on a skull cap like them. Why do I look like I'm about to do that? And so these things happen all the time in corporate America, man. And so I wrote a play about it. We had a good turnout, man. I wish more people would have seen it at the time, but that was back in 2018. I was in like 3 shows between August and September, and so it seems like a blur now, but it was a good time, man. It was funny. It was funny, but it took a turn, like a real drastic turn. So people would be laughing until they wasn't. But it was a good time.
Okay. The Little Bit You Can Do.
Man, that's a play that's never seen the light of day outside of a 10-minute play festival. It started off as a 10-minute play. I entered into this contest at the Barn Theater, who's always shown me a lot of love and a lot of support. And me and my homegirl Jabril, well, actually it was my boy Craig and Jabril, did it for 2 nights. Then he couldn't make it, so I filled in. We did this 10-minute show, and it was good, man. I entered it into some festivals, and it made it to some semifinals and some finals rounds. But it's a play that I put it like this, man. I've written more plays that haven't seen the light of day than plays that have, and so it's sitting on the shelf right now.
Okay, all right. Be Like Water.
I was another Fringe piece. It was about, I don't even know what made me write this, to tell the truth, but it was 2 black soldiers who were prisoners of war for like 5 years. Then they come back home and they're kind of shell-shocked. And it's a man and it's a woman, and they don't really know how to be without each other. But they got lives to go back to. She's got a husband. He's got, family business to attend to. It's all these different things. It was in a Fringe Festival. It ended up doing pretty good. I mean, we got a good turnout and had a good time. Again, another piece that I haven't even picked up in years just because it was on to the next thing after that.
Okay. Ain't No Such Thing as Midnight Black.
Yeah, that's probably gonna go in the record books as always my number 1 experience. That was the first play that I got a full production of. Casey Melting Pot produced it, directed by Nicole Hodges Pursley. She read like 7 or 8 pages of it and loved it, but it was about a group of black folks who wanted to resegregate into their own community And it wasn't about the backlash or, you know, the white powers, so to speak, that was preventing them, but it was about these group of people coming together. Like, if we wanted to do something that radical, you know, as a community, could we? Like, we had so many different perspectives, you know, and so they just kept arguing at the table. Well, what is this community going to look like? Well, what are we going to do? Who's going to be in charge? And it was just these constant arguments. And in the arguments, there was a lot of unity, there was a lot of agreement, there was a lot of, you know, awareness and acknowledgement of what we have accomplished, but also what we still need to accomplish. And so it was a big cast, had 10 people. My baby girl, my daughter, that was the first place she was in. She was in it with me. Yeah, it was a special piece, man. I got photos in my phone still. I still look back on it. Really, really, really special piece. But since that time, it's undergone like 2 or 3 different rewrites. I'm still writing it. That's probably gonna be the play I'm writing for the rest of my life, man. I can't get it quite right.
Okay, all right. we had to go through. I wanted people to see, man, you got a great body of work that you've been putting out here. You didn't just, you know, 1, 2. You've been putting in work for years, man, to do this. Now we gotta get to, you know, Babe Russ Tulips, man.
Babe Russ Tulips.
Now we got to talk about this, because we talked about this before, but I gotta bring this back up. And I'm gonna keep it real, like I told you. You know, I first seen this, I'm like, man, what kind of tulip is this? I didn't know what this word was. I didn't know how to say this word at first. I'm just like, man, what is this? You know, I didn't realize what it really was until I came to see it, and then I'm hearing y'all talking like,
of course.
Okay. Now I get it. Okay. And then I was locked in from then on, because at first I'm like, I'm going to support. I'm going to do that anyway. But it was a great story. I got to give you that. It was a great story. And what I loved about it more than anything else is I seen 2 of my summer players in there. I seen Don Paul and I seen you. I love that sound, man. I love to see that. And then it was a great story. It was something behind it. It was a great story. It was something relatable, you know. And it was it was all black, you know. And I seen people doing things that I'm looking at, and I'm just like, I wish our young people could see this. I wish our young people could see this and see the creativity, see the juices, see all the different aspects that go in this, so they can realize that they can be a part of this, or they can be a part of something like this. And there's so many different opportunities for them to curate their own stories, to curate, you know, our stories, you know, and that was, it was empowering to me, you know. So I got to say that, you know what I'm saying. Another thing, like I said, man, this is also about giving oxygen to, you know, our people, and I got to give that to you, man. I was so empowered and proud. I don't think I've ever been this much proud. Even when you scored, you know what I'm saying, that 25.
I was a few times.
I was proud of you then. But I'm saying I was even more proud of you on this, man, just to see the empowerment that you're giving our people, the example that you're setting, you know. And then, man, you know, I ain't gonna lie, you know, it's a good story, man.
I appreciate it.
Good story. Hit home a little bit. People can see a little bit of their lives in it, or they know some people. Man, it was a great thing. So let's talk a little bit about Babe Russ Tulips.
Man, I had this storyline in my head. I'm really, really close to my sister. And anytime I write a story, it always starts with characters first. And so I just had this storyline of the siblings being estranged for some reason. He was out the picture. I didn't know why he was gone. Just in my head, I was like, all right, little brother, big sister. I immediately knew the characters. I knew I was gonna call him, you know, baby brother. I knew I was gonna call him baby. I know 3 or 4 cats, you know, around the way that, you know, they're the baby sibling. That's what they call them, baby brother, you know. And so that's where I didn't know what I was gonna name the play, but I knew that was the character's name. And so as I started writing it, it became clear to me, man, I had a goal that at this time, everybody that was writing a play, it seemed like, especially if we were black, the burden became to educate non-black people on our experience. So every play had something to do with Black Lives Matter. Every play had something to do with police brutality. Every play had something to do with, you know, just that. I didn't feel like we could just be. Like, I didn't feel like I could write, you know, I didn't feel like a lot of people were writing plays with black people for black people. And that was something Mr. Harvey Williams had told me. He said, man, write your plays for the people you're writing about. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we'll write a story and it'll be all black people in it, but our objective really is to let the bigwigs, the white people in Hollywood, we wanted to get it on their plate. And we wanted to be palatable for them. It's our story, but told in a way that's palatable for everybody. And I said, man, I don't want to do that no more. I'm going to have our vernacular. I'm going to speak in my plays the way that we speak. So people who generally don't come see plays, when they come, they're going to want to come back because they're going to be like, I didn't know that we could do that. I didn't know we could express ourselves. So I had a goal to write 3 plays that focused on the black family, the trauma, the dysfunction, the healing, the redemption, and it started with Baber's tulips, man. I've been holding this information on for you. Once you told me you wanted me to jump on here, the 3 plays actually, man, I just signed a book deal for them. And so the 3 plays are actually going to be published. Appreciate it, man. It's going to be published as an anthology. It's umbrellaed under Bloomsbury, who actually publishes Harry Potter. And so they have a department called, their drama department for the academic is Methuen Publishing. It's just an umbrella company under them. And they're going to publish it in all of the English-speaking territories. But what's really exciting about it, man, is their big push is to get it into colleges and universities. And so that's dope for me, man, to see that, you know, possibly there's going to be some students, some professors, some, you know, aspiring actors, you know, reading my words, maybe getting inspired, maybe feeling like, you know, I can tell an authentic story too. Anyway, that's what Babers started off as. I just wanted to tell a story, like you said, with just, here's a family, this is a black family, here's the things we talk about. And yeah, man, it triggered a lot of people. It provoked a lot of people. A lot of people would ask me what it's about, and I would tell them, you know, well, this is about, you know, just dysfunction within the black family. And I had a lot of people say, oh, why are you writing about, everybody got those stories, you know what? But what I realized, man, is, you know, we come to the table and you tell me something that hurts you or something that bothers you. And I say, well, man, I felt that. I mean, I've been through that, so what? Then it makes you feel like, well, you're right. You know what? It's not worth talking about because everybody's been through it. Now we got a bunch of folks within our community who done been through something, not knowing we done all been through a lot of the same stuff, but we ain't talking about it. But why can't you spill out your feelings and say, man, this hurt me. This has held me back. This has, you know, damaged me in a way. And I can listen to you and hear you and say, dang, man, you know what? And me too. And we can start the healing process. But you can't heal or fix something that you don't even acknowledge is broken. And so that's what the plays are really about, man. And it's not to put us in a bad light. It's really to empower us and embolden us to say, you know what, we've come a long way economically. We've come a long way education-wise. But, man, there's still some vicious cycles, man, that was caused by, you know, intentionally by systemic, you know, methods put in place to kind of hinder us, you know, emotionally and mentally. And we're not addressing that at the rate that we should be, I don't think. So that's what the plays were about, man. And that's what Baber started off as and ended as. And, man, I think I got the best comment ever. This young lady had told me, she said she really enjoyed it. She really had a good time. She said, but it's making her think about the things that she said didn't bother her, making her realize that it does bother her. Some of these hurts, some of these past, you know, traumas is hurting her. She said, man, you know, I think I'm gonna go get therapy, which was dope to me because now she done set off on a path to like change her life, man, to, you know, redirect and be different and break a cycle. And she did that because she came and see one of my plays. So, man, if 1 million people see one of my shows and never like it, I got that one young lady to look back on and be like, man, it was worth it. It was just that, you know? So, yeah, that's that, man. Long-winded version of it.
Nah, it's good. I love it, man. Yeah. I love it. I love the fact because, you know, mental health is huge in our community, and a lot of people still think it's taboo and don't understand it and all that. So I love the fact that, you know, we are getting more awareness. We're curating our own stories to understand, you know, that mental health is serious, that we need it. And it's okay to talk about the things that hurt us, you know,
that emotional
the things
stuff,
right. And it's okay for us. I'm a true believer in this. It's okay for us as friends, us as men, to talk about things that bother us. That don't make us weak, sad.
Man. We've been conditioned in the worst ways, man, to where like you can't see your partner hurting and hug them and say, dang, man, you know what I mean? Like we just so like jaded and callous, man, to where, you know, if you feeling everything, but you have to act like you don't, like, you know, if somebody come up here, man, start digging a knife in my hand, and I gotta just sit up here and look at you like this, I'm like, man, underneath this sweatshirt, I'm gonna be sweating, I'm gonna be so clenched, my teeth are gonna be grinding, I'm putting all this added stress onto myself instead of just sitting here and yelling. If I yell, ha, because somebody's stabbing me, then you know what's wrong. You might be able to help me. You might be able to stop the dude from stabbing me or pull it out of my hand. And you're not going to be concerned with, well, why is he in a bad mood? Why is he hot? Why is he sweating? Why is he doing these things? I just think we don't, peace of mind, man, is my biggest like mantra, man. I wrote these 3 plays because I want to give my kids a childhood that they don't have to look back on in 30 years and seek healing from. I want them to look back in 30 years and say, man, I wish I could have all of that back. Every day, every minute with my folks, I wish I could do it all again, you know, versus looking back and saying, man, I gotta fix this. I gotta move on from this. I gotta forgive this. I gotta, you know what I mean? No parent is perfect, but I really wanna provide my kid with peace of mind as much as food and water and clothing. And I think we pat ourselves on the back because a kid we give them a roof, we give them clothes, we give them food, but man, give them some peace, give them some acceptance of themselves and some courage to be themselves and, you know, the freedom to dream. And I think we're getting there as a community, but it never hurts to kind of, you know, prod and push and say, you know, let's get there quicker. Let's do it more, you know? And so, like you said, man, we can't come to the table and be like, yeah, coach, man, let me tell you something, man, my feelings. But if you know, we can, but I'm saying for the most part, generally, yeah, man, this hurt my feelings. What, Nick? Bro, what are you talking? Your feeling, you know?
Right.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy. That's how it is. But that's what's needed, man. And it's one thing that I think it's the way that culture, you know, has taught us. But I'm so glad that the culture is changing and more people are aware that we need that. We have to have those things, you know. And I think you're right. You know, that's one of the things I'm trying to provide for my son. You know, I want to provide, you know, an environment to where he can express himself, you know what I mean, to where it's least amount of resistance, you know what I mean, and trauma that he has, so he has the ability, and I love it. I also want to provide that for more of our community students. That's what a lot of this thing is doing. Hey, man, it's okay. You know what I mean, to do this. It's okay to talk. It's okay to be, you know, one of the greatest things, you know, that I have refocused myself from saying. A lot of times people used to say, oh, you got to manage your emotions. And then I heard someone talk a while back and then it clicked. I'm like, man, this person's right. It's not managing your emotions. It's managing your reactions to the emotions. Because you're going to have emotions. As adults, we have emotions. Emotions is what makes us human.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And those are good things. It's good to have emotions. It's good to be happy, sad, mad. You know what I'm saying? All these things is good. But you have to manage the reactions to the emotions. You can't get too high, too low. You know what I mean? Even for exciting, when you're happy, you can't get too happy. You can't get too. So it's managing, you know, those reactions. And so I like that. And so ever since then, I have made a huge push to try to make sure that in this platform, we put out the opportunity to heal, the opportunity to understand that it's okay. Mental health is serious. Mental health is something that we need to pay attention to. Adults, kids, got to realize kids, there's some kids in trauma, a lot of trauma. There's kids that need mental health in this point too. And that and it starts with, I don't think that we can heal each other, but I think we can start the healing process because we talk to each other. Start the healing
process, man.
And we, you know what I'm saying, and we express ourselves and we go. I do believe we need professional help to get through things, but I believe we can start it with each other and make it a little more, let me see the right word, comfortable, you know, or at ease, the fact that, you know what I'm saying, we talking about it.
You start the chains moving, man. You move the chains. You know what? It's okay to talk about this. And I might, you know, it just reminds me of the song, man, Lean on Me. Dude says, you know, well, I just might have a problem. You'll understand. He's basically saying, you come to me, I can help you, because you don't know. I might have a problem, you'll understand. But if you like, man, I ain't going to tell Lou this, man. Lou will laugh, or Lou will this, or Lou's going to say, oh, come on, coach, what you talking about, man? I ain't going to tell him, and I'm feeling some kind of way, and I'm not going to tell you. Who knows, opening up could then make it easier for me to tell the next person, and man, nothing bad, really nothing bad comes from truth and comes from being open. If something bad comes from truth, it's probably because the stuff was already rooted in bad anyway. The truth is just saying, hey, this is what it is, but it was already that. And so being open, man, and being able to express, like you said, man, that was important. Being able to allow your kids to express themselves, to address what's bothering me. You know, I wasn't able to say I was mad, you know, in the house. If I said I was mad, I was, you know, well, be unmad, get unmad. You don't have a right to be mad. But I'm like, well, you know, we've all been told fix our face. And I get, you know, I don't want my kids rolling their eyes at me or sighing every time I say something. But you know what? If I snapped at them and it was out of place and I go to them and I say, well, what's wrong? And they say, well, I'm mad. That hurt my feelings or that they should have that freedom. Otherwise, we're going to start a cycle of, yo, there's certain people you can't say that's bothering you. Oh, it's not always appropriate to tell someone that they're doing you wrong. Man, you do me wrong. I'm telling you right then, right there, every time, man. You can be a boss. You could be a police officer. Now, I'm not saying to do it wrong. I'm not saying to lose your cool, but you should have the right to say, whoa, what you're doing and how you're doing it towards me is wrong. And I'm just trying to really write stories, man, about us in our way that reaches us, that lets that brother in the barbershop who would never once think about spending his Friday evening in a theater to see a play, like laughing at the thought, man, I done reeled in some cats, man. I'm talking about some of our brothers from the darkest parts of the hood, man, who would come and say, like, this dude told me at the end of Babers, man, he said, man, you almost made a grown man cry, bro. He said, because I feel that the lead character reminded him of his brother. Yeah. And he was like, I just couldn't reach my brother until it was too late. And his brother's not here no more. And he was like, I couldn't reach him. And it just triggered some things. And he was like, man, that makes, now whose brother am I though? So who's worrying about me? Because maybe I need to change some things. And it's, man, when you can grow up where we grew up, and it's not, love the dot. I love Wyandotte. I grew up off 29th and Wood. I love the hood, Quindera. I love it all. But there's a way about it that makes it feel like there's some things that ain't for us. It's not for us. Theater is not for us. But man, storytelling is for us. This is just the medium that I discovered. Mm-hmm. And it's cool when you can have somebody come in and they can, versus a movie, they can come in or come up to you after the show and shake your hand. And you're a completely different character. Like 5 minutes ago, you was wilding out on stage, and now 5 minutes later, they're like, you know, are you the same person? You'll be surprised, man. Somebody come up to me because I was playing a lunatic on stage and be like, they'll be hesitant to speak, and they'll be like, hi, I like your performance. And I'm smiling like, man, I appreciate it. And they're like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting. Yeah. They was expecting the lunatic, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's cool, man. It's a dope experience, and it's always fulfilling, man, to see, like I said, to see the people that I write about, to see them appreciate it more so than the, you know, normal theater goers, which I want them there too, but I love speaking to us and for us. I understand what you're saying. I love that, man. It's to be able to curate stories for us, by us, you know what I mean, that we can relate to. Yep. I get it. I love it. Man, we're going to get ready to get off this live stream. All right. And then get back to our interview. But before we do, it's a couple things I got to say. Number one, I got to say, man, again, give you your oxygen. I'm super proud of you, man. You are doing great things, wonderful things, man. And if you don't know, man, you are an inspiration to a lot of our people. Congratulations. Appreciate it. On the book deal. Yeah. Oh, man, I'm happy for that. Now, I'm going to put this on air, on tape. You know, I'm going to be highly disappointed if I don't be able to support and get, you know, these books. And just like I didn't get the CD. But the book is better than the CD. Okay, I'll make sure you have that, man. You know, matter of fact, I'm gonna send you a photo of the book. We just got the design and the specs back for the book cover, so it's dope. We'd love to have that, put it out there, support it, man, put it out. I'd love to support you, buy one. Cool. I want to do that. I want to read it. I want to see it. I love it. Next play's coming. I'll be highly disappointed if I don't know when they are. Oh, you getting the invite? You getting the invite? Okay, let's go. I want to go. I'd love to bring my son, and I'd love to even bring some things, bring some of our students out too, you know, all of that. The other thing, man, is I'm pushing for you, man.
about having some of your work accepted out there in England and Poland and getting out there. So I'm pushing for you. I'm looking to hear you tell me that you're flying out there. You know what I'm saying? To see the things going, man. I'm looking for that, man. And I am definitely looking forward to having you later on come back.
Already.
You know, another time when we talk about after the book is out and after these things. Be a great thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to get out of here from our live segment. Want to make sure that you know that tonight's live stream is brought to you in part by New Wall Street, an investment education community. Also want you to know that our episode partner is Wilson's Pizza and Grill, 1801 Quindaro Boulevard in KCK. Our venue partner here is the lovely Kinship Cafe, 719 North 6th Street in KCK. And then our segment partners are Drip Ultra Pure Water and then Sweeties Teas. All right, this is going to end our live segment. We're here on Jenna Club TV on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. I'm Coach Mo. We out.